Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. Gentleman with the voices. Serious topic today. Very serious topic. Something I want to touch on. Something that's actually been brought up to me a couple different times. Let me give you a quick rundown on the lightsaber hobby on its own. I can tell you some of the ins and outs. I'm not a very prominent name, but I lurk. I lurk. I talk to people. All of my Now, before I get too far into this video, I am not paid, I am not sponsored, I am not affiliated with anyone I mention whatsoever. These are my honest and non-biased opinions. I want to be clear about that. My opinions are non-biased. I have been told I'm biased in the past. I am not biased. I just happen to have more product of another, or I happen to know more about one person than another. So if I don't mention someone in this video, it is not slander. It is not me being biased. I just either don't know that person or I have not had a communication or work with that person. That being said, let's move on. So let's start with the basics. Lightsaber blades. There are two different types of lightsaber blades. If you're new, okay, so this video is more for people that are new to the community or people that want to learn. Lightsaber blades come in two different types. Actually, three different types. I had to think about that for a second. The first type is one of the most common. Plain, your plain, basic, day-to-day, all-out polycarbide blade. It does not have any special effects whatsoever. If anything, hang on. This is just an example. All it does is the base light turns on. That's it. The base light turns on. The blade is hollow, so it doesn't have an LED strip, which allows the not really nice effects that make it look like an actual lightsaber blade. This is by far the cheapest way to go, especially if you're a combat duelist or you just want to fight for fun. And it's cheap. You can pick up a decent polycarbide blade for anywhere from $10 to $40, depending what you want. Now, NeoPixel blades. Let's talk about NeoPixel blades. NeoPixel blades are also very common now. It's a polycarbide blade. I don't have one on hand, but what I can do, hopefully, is I can pull out my blade plug, which I cannot. So I'll just turn this lightsaber on and I'll show you. There's a little circle at the bottom that allows you to connect to either your pogo pins or your LED connection. And with your board programmed, you're able to create a vast array of things you can do with that LED strip in that polycarbide blade. So this is a NeoPixel lightsaber. This is a NeoPixel lightsaber blade plug. So you can tell it's connected with the pogo pins. Now it is a base LED as well, but this is connected to the pins inside. So if you watch the tip, watch the light that you see coming out. See how it flashes to different colors? That is part of the LED configuration for a pixel blade. You can pick up pixel blades at a couple different places. You can pick them up literally any LGT store, any TQX, I don't remember. Any place that sells those lightsaber blades. Bendu Armory's got some good ones. The Custom Saber Shop has some. I know Saber Forge does. I could go on. There are so many places that sell NeoPixel blades. However, as opposed to the plain polycarbonate blades, the NeoPixel blades are expensive. They run anywhere from, last I checked, $85 to far beyond that. I've seen some that go for about $150. depending on the brand and the name and what they're rated for. Bendu Armory has some really good high rated blades for combat. I had one. It was a great blade. The tip flew off. I couldn't use it anymore. Sad for me. And then that's that. There's another set of blades that are not rated for battle. I want to make that very clear. They are for decoration and showing off only. Now, these blades the blades I'm thinking of specifically are the really nice acrylic ones. The best place you can find those, you can pick some up at Mystic Knights. You can pick some up, as far as I know, any LGT store, honestly, but mostly through Ripper Blades and Ripper Clones, made by Gary Ripper. I've talked to Gary a couple times. He's a really nice, friendly guy. He gets on, he talks to folks now and then. I actually have a spearhead that Rip made, which is absolutely gorgeous, but they are works of art. They are not meant for battle. People have taken these into battle and they have broken. They are not combat ready. So please bear that in mind. Sometimes they sell combat ready blades, but make sure you read the fine print on the website. I will try to make sure I link Rip down below. Okay, so that's it for blades. Now, let's talk about the different types of companies that sell different types of sabers. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up. If you're just looking to start, there are a couple things you can do. I personally, if you're just getting in, you want something sooner than later, but you can fight with it and you want a vast array of options. These are sabers from LGT. Okay, LGT blades are actually pretty cool. They're pretty good. I've talked to, and I'm good friends with a couple of the actual LGT vendors. I can link a couple of their sites down below as well. Like I said, these are LGT blades. They have different options. Typically, depending on what you order, you can get your product, be it blades, cores, accessories, hilts, parts. You can typically get those anywhere between a week and 10 days. Business days. Figured I should be specific. Though I will warn you, you may get them quicker. You will probably get what you want. They are not by any means, all of them, going to be 100% screen accurate if that's what you're going for. Like I said, these are two different blades. They come in different, they offer different cores. Now, if you don't know what a core is, I'll show you. I don't want to turn the saber back on. All right, so this is your lightsaber core. Battery. Now the speakers are pretty freaking small, so bear that in mind. There are some fonts that are very powerful, that are very bassy, and they will blow these speakers. We'll touch more on fonts here in a little bit. They're good speakers. The stock speakers are okay, but I know folks that choose to change them out almost as soon as they get them to avoid blowout. You got your wires going all the way up, and then these are your different boards. This one has a Golden Harvest. Golden Harvest is made by Sabertech in Germany. Golden Harvest is a freaking fantastic board. Now, the board that you pick comes down to preference in what company you buy from. Some use specific boards exclusively, which, if you ask me, is a damn shame. And in your board, you're going to have your SD card that you can take out, change out your fonts, change out whatever. Power button. Obviously, you can't have a lightsaber without a power button. Recharge port. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And then right about here, is where the pins and the connection for your blades and your blade plugs are going to be. You got to be careful, because when I moved, I made sure I had a new blade plug to protect those. That's what the blade plug does, is it protects your pins, or it protects your lights from getting damaged. Some lightsaber companies, some of the LGT vendors, I should say, will offer compatible parts that you can switch out anytime that you wish. Some companies sell parts exclusively, which is fantastic. That's how I managed to build this. LGT has the LGT Nexus. I just remembered about Nexus, because I think they just went through a brand change. They are in the unique position because they're able to make their parts, their interchangeable parts, and all their vendors carry different parts, different pieces, different parts, different names, different sabers, and so on. There's a business that sells parts, that sells bulk parts exclusively, which is really nice. Blue Bull's Outer Rim saber parts. I have reviewed him in the past. Feel free to check that video out. That's one of the nice things about these sabers. They are cheap. You can get the boards. The LGT Nexus TXQ. That's it, TXQ. Places like Kyber Cave. I'm good friends with them too. They have the swap out parts. Their boards. Now we can get into boards. The boards that are offered, but that are offered in general, and these are the ones I am aware of: Golden Harvest from Germany, Crystal Focus, Verso, Asteria, Profi, by Frederick Hubinet. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not sure. There's another one I'm missing. The Obsidian board. Yeah, those are the only ones that come to mind. And Diadium from Electrum, I think. I think that's what their electronics are called. I'm not sure. I'm not an Electrum customer yet. So we'll get into boards here in just a moment. Oh, and Xenopixel. But we'll get into the specifics about the boards here after I finish with the Hilts and companies. So beyond them, another company you can go through is called Ultra Sabers. There's a reputation out there. I'm not going to go into it on here. That's not what this is about. This is just about teaching you guys about the different types of sabers and things to be aware of. I can say if you're looking for something cheap and durable, they do got it. But as far as sabercraft goes, that particular company is behind the times. I will not advise nor disadvise you to go there. That is absolutely up to you. So let's talk about the other companies. The other companies. Now we're getting into the bigger companies now. There is Electrum. They have more technologically apt sabers. While they are gorgeous, they're just a little too futuristic for my taste. But I do want to get one just to try it out, see how it is. There is Saber Forge, who have exclusive style sabers and saber work. There's Vader's Vault, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm not a customer. I've never been, and as much as it pains me to say it, I never will be. I'll get into that. I'll get into why later. There is I'm trying to remember them all. Genesis Custom Sabers. He puts out hilts once in a while. His sabers are works of art, though. If you manage to get one, don't let it go. Seriously. There's the Pock store, which sells some pretty cool hilts. There's actually some hilts I've only ever seen on the Pock store, which is awesome. They do a lot of props and stuff too. There's shadow foil props. Shadow foil is he's got some really nice sabers, man. There's KR sabers. There's 89 sabers. Mind you, the price point on some of these sabers, though, are very, very, very high. So if you're looking for budget, just make sure you're looking at that price before you buy. And there is another saber company. I don't want to mention them, but I'm going to because I will probably get lynched if I don't. Saber Trio. People swear by Saber Trio. No. Never owned one, don't want one. I just don't like the aesthetic. And I honestly, from some of the feedback I've heard, I think they're overhyped. But that's just my personal opinion. So let's get into price point. Actually, no, let's not do price point yet. Let's get into the boards. I'll start from the lower tier to the higher tier. Yeah. So boards literally come down to personal preference. There have been other boards over the years. I don't know what all of them are. But we'll start from the bottom and we'll go up. The most common board, if you go through Ultra Sabers, it's the only place you're going to find what's called the Obsidian board. I say Obsidian board like Dr. Evil because Obsidian means it's solid, it's fantastic, it is powerful. As someone that has owned 2 Obsidian boards, no, it is not. You can plug literally anything into an Obsidian board, but the problem is, because that company is so far behind in the times, and no, this is not slander. This is just what I've noticed. The boards tend to short out. There is no chassis. There is no protection for the battery. There is no protection for the speaker. I know someone that sent their Saber in to get serviced before the year warranty was up, and it came back worse than they sent it. LED worked. Sound wasn't working. Asked me what I could do. I looked at it. I wasn't going to do anything that was going to void the warranty. If I couldn't fix it, I couldn't. I told her to send it in. She sent it in. Came back with the sound working, but parts of it were loose that could not be fixed. So that person isn't getting Ultra Sabers again. But yeah, the Obsidian board, for what it is, as cheap as the entire setup is, I mean, if you're really looking for a heavy dueling style saber, it'll suit your purposes. But the Obsidian board is not all that great. It's not all it's cracked up to be or made out to be. Let's move on to the more common ones now. When you get in towards like the LGT, the budget sabers, let's just say budget sabers so I can get all of them at once. You're going to have like the RGBX cards, the chips, and they're going to have 10 to 13 fonts built right in. You can't change them out. You can't take them out. You can adjust the sound. You can adjust the effects. You can adjust they add music tracks, which I really wish they wouldn't do. You can change the colors. Changing the colors is cool. Though I personally must confess, sometimes when you get those particular, now these boards are built into those cores. Well, again, like the Obsidian board, the cores are good for what they're built for. There is a company, and I will not name them, because I don't want to come off as slanderous. I have bought from them 3 separate times, and all 3 times I had an issue with the product I got. One of those times was a RGBX NeoPixel core. The speaker was absolute garbage. The fonts were so silent half the time, I may as well have not even had them. The only thing that worked properly was the effects and the colors. So it might have just been the company I got it from. I don't know, but I avoid those like the plague personally. Let's move on to the next. The next most common one, I am personally not a fan. I actually like it less than the RGBX board, is called XenoPixel. XenoPixel is literally a combination of, and I'll explain this board next, the Profi and the RGBX board, where it is one of the longer, it's one of the elongated boards. It has fonts built into it. You can change the fonts out. You can change there's a variety of effects. There's a variety of things you can do. And it's the best of both worlds. You get a bunch of different effects. You get a bunch of different colors, sounds, things you can do with it. I don't like it because it's way too much stuff to work with. It's way too complex, way too complicated. I just want to plug in my saber, put in the fonts I want, change it to the color and effect I want, and that's it. I don't want to accidentally hit a button a certain way and then I change everything. So, folks love it. It is cost effective. It is actually pretty cheap. The price point on a core for those in one of the budget sabers, when I bought the one I literally gave away, and yes, I did give it away, was about, I want to say $129 before shipping. 125, 129, something like that. Now let's get into the 3 most well-known boards. I don't know anything about Asteria at all. Profi is what is in this saber. So as far as special configuration goes, Profi is the way to go. If you're looking for something with a lot of effects for cosplays, go Profi. Profi is an okay board. I actually don't hate Profi. Though, if you're going to go Profi, the learning curve is ridiculous. There's a lot of computer coding to it, and it's not for me. I got tired of resetting my saber every time I wanted to do a different review or a different batch of reviews. It got so tedious I didn't want to do it anymore. Which is part of the reason I'm moving from Profi. Not that it's a bad board. It's not. It's actually a fantastic board. It's just with the latest update before I switched over to Golden Harvest, which I think was like the 6.3 or the 6.4 or something like that. They added so much stuff to it that, from what I understand, the board kept crashing. So that's why my software will never go past the 5.9. No, these sabers will not ever be altered. Ever. Because I have this one and a dark Beskar and black version of this. They will not be changed. They will not be altered. These are retired. Once I get through the fonts on these I haven't reviewed, they're probably not ever going to get used again. They'll just get set on my wall for collection. Yeah, Profi's a good board. If you're going to go Profi, like I said, it does do a lot of the realistic blade effects. Which is really cool. There's even some very unique ones that you can get, which I think are really cool. But again, it comes down to computer programming and coding, which I'm not. I can barely work a cell phone. But yeah. All right, so let's move on to the two of them. I can discuss one, but I'll do my best to touch on the other. Golden Harvest. That is what is in both of these, is Golden Harvest. Golden Harvest is just my border choice now. It's easy. It does have a lot of decent effects to it. You can change, display, alter. You can literally personalize to your heart's content, which is something I love. All you have to do, get your font, right click, copy, add it to the sound fonts folder, rename it, sound whatever number it is or whichever number font you're replacing. I replace all the stock ones because I don't like very many of them. I think I keep like 3 and go from there. The Golden Harvest can fit up to 99 fonts, which is freaking awesome. This one has, I think, 80 something fonts in it. This one, I think, only has 20 something because I only want to put certain fonts on this one. Golden Harvest, you can change to whatever color you want. You can turn it silver. For some reason, you can't actually have a white blade for Profi. I don't know why. I don't understand it. Whatever. Golden Harvest, you can have a white blade. You can have a silver blade. Looks great. If you go to, say, Saber Font, if you go to Saber Font and you're looking for Golden Harvest fonts, and not every place is going to have them, but they have some that are they have some CFX fonts that are optimized for Golden Harvest. Let's get on to CFX now. I don't own a CFX. I've never owned a CFX, but I know some folks that just they swear by it, and that's fine. I don't know anything about CFX. I can't really talk on the matter because I don't own one. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know anything about it. Yeah. So let's go to price point now. I almost touched on price point early. Price point, depending on what you're getting, because I called these budget sabers for a reason. They're meant for if you want to have lightsaber battles or duels or something for cosplay or show off. They're budget friendly. They're cheap. They do what you want to do. If you get the right board, you can buy the fonts you want. You can plug them in there. They're good to go. And then you'll notice even the budget sabers have what are called replicas. And by replicas, I mean you can find like the Emperor's lightsaber, Yoda's, Obi-Wan's, Luke's, Anakin's, Rey's, Kylo Ren's. It goes on. Replicas from the movies and the TV shows and the video games. Replicas. Some companies specialize in exclusively replicas. Now, the closer they get to screen accurate, the more expensive they're going to be, and the more highly coveted they're going to be. I know there is a company. I'm trying to remember. 89 or Corbanth, I don't remember which. They have some very, very coveted hilts that if you ever were to get your hands on it, don't let it go. And if you absolutely have to let it go, people will have absolutely no problem spending top dollar to get that off your hands. I don't know what they are. They're way out of my price range. I could barely afford this Saber Forge hilt. Okay. You got your mid-tier hilts, like this one, where they're a decent price, but they're not overly expensive. That's places, like I said, like Saber Forge. There are a lot of companies will let you buy their hilts empty, and then you can install it yourself, which is nice. Like Saber Forge. There is, but the more accurate the sabers and the more highly coveted, the higher the price. You can buy some of these sabers secondhand. I don't encourage it because there's a lot of folks that they scam especially new buyers, new people to the community, into getting. It's like, hey, I got this saber for sale, and they'll ask around. It's like, hey, this dude says he has a saber. It's like, yeah, you might want to grab that. I warn you, try not to buy secondhand if you can, because I'm seeing people get scammed on that stuff more and more and more and more and more. I know some sabers, because the budget sabers you can buy for a couple hundred, depending if it's a replica or not. Replicas are more expensive, but I've seen sabers go for as high as 1,500, sometimes more. There is a hilt that Genesis Custom Sabers made, called the Bane. That's about $3,000. He installs it. He makes them. He only makes them in limited runs, I believe. Those are expensive. And I know some people will claim that they have one for sale, and then they'll scam people for their money. So try and buy firsthand if you can. Otherwise, make sure it's a reputable person that you're buying from, especially if you're new to the community. Ask around. Ask people you trust. Ask people that are in the know. Be sure you're not getting scammed. Now, wait times. Now, this is going to be most important as far as saber buying goes, is the wait times. How soon you need your lightsaber is going to be dictated by what you want. The two companies that I know of with the longest wait times are Vader's Vault and Saberforge. You can speed up the process at Saberforge by ordering your saber empty, and you can install it yourself or send it to an installer. I'll recommend a few installers here in a little bit. So the lead time for a Saberforge saber, the last I knew, to get installed, to buy the hilt, get it installed, get it sent out, was, I believe, a couple months. 12 weeks, 9 to 12 weeks, I believe, is the specific lead time. Sometimes you can get it sooner, sometimes you can get it later. It literally all depends what you want. And then there is Vader's Vault. They have some gorgeous sabers. They have some sabers I would love to get my hands on. But the problem is, you cannot buy those empty. They only come in CFX. And the lead time is pretty long. It's longer than I want to wait for a saber. I'm sorry. This is a hobby. I'm not going to wait 5-6 months for a saber. I don't know what their current lead time is right now, and honestly, I'm not interested. Some people will happily wait. The time for a Vader's Vault saber, and to some people, it's worth it. For some people, this is literally what they do. It's their bread and butter, is saber work, and that's that's fine. That's fantastic. But I want a little bit more option as far as my board. I want a little bit more option. I want to, I don't want to wait too long, because, that kind of lead time. Like, I get that they make the sabers as they go, but no, I don't want to wait that long. So make sure you read their lead times. You can usually find that in their frequently asked questions at the bottom of every site, is how long their lead time is, or their current lead time. Usually you can message the company directly, ask, how, if I was to order a saber today, how long would it take for me to get it? Usually they'll be pretty upfront with you about it. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've gotten to the sabers, let's talk fonts. Let's talk fonts and font makers. I have plenty of reviews on here. I've talked about all of these guys many times, and I can recommend quite a few of them. So let me start here. So lightsaber fonts are not exclusive to just specific characters. Every font maker has a different spin on a lightsaber font. on a different character. One person's Qui-Gon can sound very different from another person's Qui-Gon. There's out-of-universe fonts. For example, Force Effects, he has a Spaceballs font. Juan Sith has a Spaceballs font. They're two different Spaceballs fonts. There are Marvel fonts. There's World of Warcraft fonts. There's Avatar The Last Airbender fonts. Reaver's Arsenal makes some of those. You got Superman, Batman, Motherbox. You got Speedster fonts. Syndicate Custom Relics has some of those. He's got a Bong Saber font from Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. You got a fart sound font. You got some other out-of-universe ones. Some Old Republic ones, you know. I mean, it literally goes on. I could literally go through the list of the different fonts that there are. There are so many. But the best thing I can do, type in the stuff you're looking for, see if there's a font for it. I guarantee there's something out there somewhere. And if I haven't reviewed it yet, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There's plenty other font reviewers out there that have done it, will do it, will happily give a different take than what I have, and that's just fine. But if you are starting, I will, let me give you some recommendations. I will give you recommendations. My recommendations are not limited to 2 people. Most people will only recommend 2 people. They are good font makers, but there's more than those 2. I will mention those 2, but let me get to these other guys first. First and foremost, you got Syndicate Custom Relics. Preston. Awesome dude. You got BK Saber Sounds. Brian's an awesome dude as well. Reaver's Arsenal. Cameron. Good dude. Makes stellar fonts. Force Effects. Aaron does some really unique stuff. He's not putting anything out right now, but dude, the man is king of the Old Republic. He's got some of the best Old Republic fonts I've ever heard. You got Link. If you can find any of Link's fonts, go for it. I know he's only got one on Repulse right now. I don't know where all his other ones went. I lost my train of thought. This is embarrassing. Cosmic Ape. He has his own brand of fonts. Dude, they're freaking stellar. It's like Daft Punk meets Star Wars. Joel has some amazing work. And then there's some guys I don't even know by name, and they do stellar work, like Kit Bash. He does some pretty good fonts. I won't lie. Darth Armin, I just recently reviewed his 8-bit saber. Dude, he's got some really good fonts too. There's some of the legacy fonts. I can list quite a few of them. I'm not going to go into legacy. That's way too much. Way too many. Lord Blako. He's a heck of a font maker. Wanseth. Don't have any of his fonts. He's a good font maker. I've heard his stuff, and it is really good. I just keep forgetting to get some. Or the money's not there. Sometimes both. Grayscale. I actually had a font commissioned by Grayscale, Masterless, that is really good. Sam's done a hell of a job in the font game. He was releasing fonts for free for the longest time. Some of those fonts are still free. Masterless is also free. Go check them out. And then you got the big guys. The 2 most well-known and most recommended font makers. I'm not saying don't take your business to them. They are good font makers, and I've talked to both of them with customer concern. Not that anything went wrong, it was something I did. Like I gave a wrong email address or something for delivery. Kyberphonic and Ksith. Good font makers. I've reviewed their fonts in the past. I do love them. I love them immensely. Check them out. Check out every single one of these dudes. And I mean every one of them. They're all good font makers. Don't let any one person recommend a single person. Try every flavor. It's like you go to Baskin Robbins. They got 31 flavors. You don't have to try every flavor at once, man. Try them all. Go every day and try every flavor. But the best part is the flavor of those fonts, they're not going to go anywhere. Once you buy them, they're yours. And some of these font makers are going to have them for different boards, and that's where the fonts come in. The fonts go on your lightsaber, but not all font makers offer compatibility with every single board. I know a couple of them only just recently started offering for Golden Harvest. Some just started for Xenopixel. It goes on. So now sabers, companies, and blades and font makers are out of the way. Let's go to installers. All right, let me start by saying, again, I am not being paid by anyone. I've only had my one saber installed ever. I'm not affiliated with anyone. Let's get started. Installers I do know, and I do know are pretty good. Moon's Custom Armory. Jeremy. I know Jeremy personally. Jeremy is a fantastic dude. He is, like me, he's a fan of the Old Republic, which is freaking awesome. Moon's Custom Armory. Make sure you are checking that out if you were looking for installs. He is Canada-based, but it is worth it. Kashyyyk Customs. I know Izzy. Izzy's awesome. I know she does a lot of CFX installs. I know that's her board of preference. I've seen her installs. They are freaking exquisite. I know Cameron over at Reaver's Arsenal does installs. I know that Smuggler's Outpost does installs. Like I said, I don't know every installer. I wish I did. I don't. I think Benji at Nerf Herder does installs. I don't know if it's just weathering or installs he does. I think it's just weathering, but I feel like Benji's worth mentioning. There are so many installers out there. Like I said, I probably am not going to name them all. I've only ever had to have one thing installed. Anything else has just been a core I bought. Feel free to check them out. I encourage you to check them out. Research your installers because installs can be expensive. Installs take time. Installs require a lot of attention to detail, from what I've seen and understand. What else is there? I'm missing something. Oh, one more thing. If you want to give your lightsaber some personality, there are two things you can do. You can do acid etching, and you can get powder coating. Acid etching is like etching a design or words. And then powder coating is, well, this. Saber didn't come this way, bud. This saber came all black. Seriously, it was all black. Yeah, so you see it's shiny, it's white and gold. And that's how I asked for it to be, and that's how I got it. There are a bunch of different powder coaters out there. Oh, another installer. Sith Lord Sabers through Saber Bay. Knew I was missing one. That I knew. I had the two powder coat jobs I've had are done by Red Fox Drummer. I know you can... Wade Sabers is another installer I forgot. How can I forget that? Wade Sabers powder coats as well. That's how I remembered Russell. But yeah, the powder coating allows you to give a little personality to your work. I purposely wanted two of the same saber. After I had my first one, I decided, you know what, it'd be kind of cool to have these as a pair, kind of like a Ahsoka. But I wanted to show off the two aspects of a person's personality. There is the light side, and there is the dark side. Light and dark constantly a battle. That's why I have two of the same hilt, different color schemes, opposites of each other. Actually, I should have done black and silver with the other one. Now I'm thinking about it. Whatever. Yes. You can do leather wrapping too. If you need to get parts for sabers beyond the budget stuff, there's the Saber Merchant, there's Smuggler's Outpost, there's Saber Bay. Yeah. So please take this video, do with it what you will, share it to whatever lightsaber groups you need to or want to. But yeah, this is just basically a beginner's guide to lightsaber buying and information for dummies. So I hope you found this video informative, or at least a little bit educational, because that was the whole point of me doing it. So until the next video, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Please make sure that you have a good day.